Hello friends, Tom Downey here for Chat Sports. If you're wondering what's going on behind me and it looks different, well, that's because we're live on site from the College Football Playoff National Championship. But we have not forgotten about the NFL, and as promised, we've come back with an updated look at the Arizona Cardinals head coaching candidates this offseason. Of course, they fired Steve Wilks after just 1 year, and we can debate later whether that was a good move or not. Offensive mind is the focus right now for Arizona because they have got to get the most out of Josh Rosen. If they don't do that, they're going to be in big trouble going forward. One note here on a coach you're not going to see on this list, Eric Bieniemy, because he declined an interview offer that he had to go talk with the Cardinals. Apparently he doesn't want that job at all. As to coaches who have interviewed so far, here are your 5, and of course they'll be near the top once we get down to our top 5 coaching candidates. Adam Gase, Kliff Kingsbury, Zach Taylor, Dan Campbell, and Jim Caldwell. Those are the 5 guys that we know of so far that have interviewed for the Cardinals head coaching gig. So we'll take you now to the top 10 candidates with emphasis more on the top 5 right now, hint hint. Number 10, John DeFilippo, who, had he not been fired, I think he would have been much higher on this list, but when you lose your offensive coordinator job, typically means you're not the best fit to be a head coach in most cases. Now, he did interview for the Cardinals job last year. I still think he could get a couple of interviews, so have OC interest as well, but he's unlikely, but he does fit the offensive focus here for the Arizona Cardinals, and that's going to be the common theme on this entire head coaching candidate list. One of the exceptions is Brian Flores, who interviewed for the Cardinals job last year. Now again, he's listed as the linebackers coach, but he calls the defensive plays. He has multiple, or at least will have had multiple interviews by the time this process is over. Don't be surprised if somebody ends up hiring him. He was a runner-up last time around, but Arizona doesn't seem all that interested this time in hiring Flores. One note, there was some buzz that he would bring on as his OC, Jim Caldwell, who hint we'll get to later on in this show. All right, folks, today's show is brought to you by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code LIVE120 for a 120% deposit bonus. Put down $50, they're going to give you $60 for free. Put down $100, they'll give you $120. Put down $500, go be a big baller, and BetDSI will give you $600 extra bucks to bet with, but only if you use promo code LIVE120 at chatsports.com/bet. All right, next up, another offensive mind, number 8, Pete Carmichael, the Saints OC since 2009, but naturally, Sean Payton handles most of that offensive play calling there, actually really all of it, and then most of the main focal point of that offensive staff is Sean Payton. Now, he's 47 years old, and I've heard some buzz that he wants to make the jump to the head coaching level. We'll interview with the Packers. Maybe Arizona also makes sense if they want to find an offensive mind who, granted, isn't the play caller, but I'm sure he's picked up a thing or two by now, having coached under Sean Payton for a very long time. All right, number 7, Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator for the BUCS. He's got 2 interviews lined up already, the Bengals and the Jets, and the BUCS offense was much better when it was Monken who was actually calling the plays and wasn't letting Dirk Cutter influence him too much. He also, by the way, has head coach experience at Southern Miss, turned them around into a bowl-caliber program until he left to take the OC job with the BUCS. So there's interest there, not so much from Arizona, but I think he also makes some sense, as does number 6 on our list, Matt LaFleur, the Titans offensive coordinator, who I'm not as high on as everyone else. I saw him at a lot of other teams or other lists, but he doesn't have that much interest right now. Packers are going to interview him, but that's only one of them so far. A first-year play caller, the Titans offense just wasn't that good this year. And I know he comes from the McVay and the Shanahan coaching tree, but I think they could have done, I think the Titans offense should be better. It's not all his fault, obviously, but that is a high-risk, high-reward type of hire. So here are the 6 through 10 guys: John DeFilippo, Brian Flores, Pete Carmichael, Todd Monken, and Matt LaFleur. As for the Cardinals job in general, should Arizona have actually fired Steve Wilks? I thought he looked a little bit outmatched, but this was not all his fault. This Cardinals team was bad, and frankly, I am stunned that GM Steve Keim kept his job. If you fire your head coach after 1 year, you should lose your job as a GM too, because that means you completely botched the head coach search. I was very surprised that the Arizona fired Steve Wilks and also kept Steve Keim. Either they both stay or they both go. They should be tied at the hip. Keim should not get another shot to hire a head coach after failing, at least by his own organizational standards, so miserably after just 1 year. All right, into the top 5 now. Number 5, Jim Caldwell. He interviewed for the Cardinals job back on Thursday. also has interviews lined up, or has already had them, with the Browns, the Packers, and the Jets. And I think Caldwell's overall tenure looks a little bit better because Lions had some issues this year under Matt Patricia. But I'm underwhelmed by the idea of hiring Jim Caldwell. I know he's the opposite of Steve Wilks. He has experience. He's an offensive mind. But in reality, he's failed twice as an NFL head coach, the Colts and the Lions. That's not the route I want to go if I'm Arizona. I think you can find somebody better. That's a big reason why he ranks number 5 on our list. Number 4, and yeah, apparently we're doing this year. Kliff Kingsbury. It's mind-boggling to me that he gets NFL head coaching interviews from the Cardinals and the Jets. This is the ultimate failing upwards move. Imagine hiring a head coach who was fired by his alma mater at the college level because he was 5 games under 500 and missed multiple bowl games. Doesn't make any sense. I know that Kliff Kingsbury is a really good offensive mind. The NFL's desire to focus solely on offense is going to ruin multiple franchises. You cannot look me in the eye and say, yes, we should hire Kliff Kingsbury. Doesn't make any sense. He failed at a lesser college program in the Big 12. Why would he work out in the NFL? And I know you can point to other examples, but Kingsbury hasn't even had time to rehab his stock like a Pete Carroll did. He's just gone to USC as the OC, hasn't even started yet. So I'll ask you if you guys would hire Kliff Kingsbury as an NFL head coach. It's a big old N for me. Hiring Kliff is a terrible idea. Yes, he's a good offensive mind, but that's not enough to be a head coach. We've seen it time and time again. If he didn't work at Texas Tech, why would he work at Arizona as an NFL head coach? It just doesn't make sense to me. Move on now to number 3, Dan Campbell, the tight ends coach and the assistant head coach for the New Orleans Saints. He's interviewed for the Cardinals job and the Browns and the Packers job as well. He comes from the Bill Parcells tree, and he was 5-7 as the Dolphins interim head coach back in 2015. Had some success there. He doesn't call the plays, so for Campbell, you need to have good coordinators around him, which I think is okay. Now, can Arizona get those guys? I think we'll wait and see. But Campbell, I think, makes sense for Arizona. I'm not that surprised he's getting more interest in Pete Carmichael because Campbell tends to have the better leadership traits based on what I've been told from around the NFL. All right, number 2, Zach Taylor, and this, I think, fits the mold of what Arizona wants. A young offensive mind, and fits that, oh, he's the next Sean McVay, which everyone wants. Everyone wants the next Sean McVay, which will get teams into trouble, but teams have interest. The Broncos and Bengals have interviewed him, or at least will interview him. He will also interview for the Cardinals head coaching job. So, it makes sense, right? You got to find someone to help develop Josh Rosen. Why not pick a young guy and hope you can get the truly the 2.0 version, right? Jared Goff was bad in year 1. Josh Rosen was not good in year 1. You bring in a young offensive mind, get the most out of him, and just like that, your franchise is back on track. So Taylor, I think, does make quite a bit of sense for Arizona. At number 1, how about Adam Gase? Remember, NFL teams, more often than not, go the opposite route. You know, you break up with a blonde, you start dating a brunette. The Cardinals broke up with a defensive-minded first-time head coach. Adam Gase is an offensive-minded head coach with experience. Now, yes, things ended pretty badly in Miami, but NFL teams are still high on him. When he got fired, multiple teams quickly had interest in interviewing Adam Gase, which I don't know is the best route, but if you let Steve Keim run the front office, let Gase have less power, maybe that makes more sense in the end for the Cardinals. I think getting Adam Gase would be a decent enough hire. It's certainly better than Kliff Kingsbury. I'd rather hire Gase than Kingsbury if I'm Arizona, because at least one of them won games in the NFL. So who will the Arizona Cardinals hire? Let me know in the comment section. If it's a name not on this list, I'll be sure to respond as well. I'll put my money for now on Adam Gase. I think he makes sense for Arizona based on what they want. Maybe not the most ideal hire because he didn't do all that well in Arizona, but I think he makes sense for the Cardinals who want an offensive mind and probably would like a little bit more experience after what happened with Steve Wilks. All right, to recap the top 10 Cardinals head coaching candidates: John DeFilippo, Brian Flores, Pete Carmichael, Todd Monken, Matt LaFleur. They rank 10-6. And then, of course, 5-1, Jim Caldwell, Kliff Kingsbury, which just, please don't do it. It's just such a bad idea. Dan Campbell, Zach Taylor, and at number 1, Adam Gase.